You're listening to From Fear to Love. I'm your host, Alma Leigh. So I consider myself rather a reasonably independent person. I laugh because I can hear my friends, especially my children, laugh. Just the idea of me saying that out loud. I am fiercely independent, probably to a problematic degree, I would have to admit. The journey that I have embarked upon as of late, I have made a lot of realizations about my life, the path that I've gone down, the path that I choose to go down, the mental diet that I consume, those types of things. And it's where I get a lot of the content, honestly, for this podcast and for my talk show, for the Alma Leigh Show, and for my books. I do my own introspection. I figure out, what the hell is my problem? How could I possibly move forward in my life as someone who prides herself as a purveyor of life knowledge? And I think I do have some good insight. I do. I'm a pretty self-assured, confident person for the most part, and I'm getting better day by day. But a big part of that process, a big part of that spiritual evolution, that awakening of self, is the realization of areas of improvement. And that's where I get all of this content. So ask. Why is it so hard to ask? That's been something I've been considering as of late, as far as the next episode of this podcast, is to talk about, why is it so hard to ask for help? And may he rest in peace for Twitch, Stephen Boss from The Ellen Show. And anybody else that you and I have lost to suicide. I have had to ask myself many, many times, why? Why is it so hard? And the thing is that it is. It just is. It's hard to ask for help. But we got to figure out why it's so difficult. And here's what I've come to. So I want to share that with you in my own realizations. Well, I think it means that we're weak, or at least we think it means that we're weak. And if I were to ask somebody for help, I think for me, coming from my background, coming from the things that I am trying, and I'm doing a good job. I have to pat myself on the back. I am disentangling all of the old cognitions that I grew from as a child. That if I ask for help, I might not get it. And if I ask for help, then that's going to be showing vulnerability. And if I ask for help, then the persona that I have perpetuated as being this strong, independent archetype of a woman might be seen as flawed. And we can't have that. We can't have people see us as something outside of the egotistical, idea that we're selling the world. Because that's what protects us, right? That's what keeps us safe, is to have this image, this persona that we put out there to the world. And I'm just as guilty of this as anybody. I have to raise my hand to that. But I have this persona of being this knowledgeable, thoughtful, caring, empathetic, compassionate person. And that is exactly who I see myself as. But there's this egotistical desire to not want anybody to see that as, it's got to be impenetrable. It's got to be, a fail-safe. You can't get through it. So if I were to ask for help, then that might break down. That might dissolve in someone else's eyes. What can we do about that? How can we pivot around that? I think first and foremost, as I'm sitting here thinking about this as I'm talking, I think community is key. When we keep a circle of people close people that we trust, people that we have the ability to be vulnerable with. Those are the people that we ask. Those are the people that we talk to. And I guess maybe the question is, if you have those people in your circle that you can ask, that you can lean into, that you can show your true self to, then it makes you wonder if the people who have taken their life were able to trust the people around them. And I think that that's what makes suicide so difficult, right? Because the ones of us who are left behind, we start questioning whether or not we were available to be asked. Were we there? Were we supportive enough? That's where you get into that whole tricky mindset of shoulda, woulda, coulda. And what I'll say to that, without getting too far in the weeds on it, is that there's nothing really you can do at that point. If somebody has decided to end their life, there's really not anything you can do. Marsha Linehan, the famous psychologist who developed borderline personality disorder treatment called DBT, dialectical behavioral treatment therapy, rather. She said that you can't save everybody. You or something to that. I'm paraphrasing. You can't save everybody. And then, of course, when we talk about the elements of suicide prevention and resiliency, we're like, oh, look out for your buddy, look out for your friend. And that's all well and good, but, how are we supporting and encouraging the people who are in the closet? How are we encouraging them to ask? And we have to look inside ourselves, regardless of how well you are mentally. You could be in the absolute best space of your life mentally. You could be as well as anybody could possibly be. But it still begs the question, you should find out, are you capable of asking? Where if you were to get into a space where you are so troubled and so low and hurting so deeply, can you ask? And who would you ask? Think about it for just a moment. Just take a moment and ask yourself, if you got into such a dire space, could you ask somebody to help you? And if you can't, why not? I mean, right now, especially if you're feeling healthy, if you're in a good space, this is the perfect time to ask the question, to explore that. Is why not? What's preventing you? It's all a point of growth. It's all a point of understanding ourselves better, to live the very best version of our lives that we possibly can, to be the best version of who we are spiritually while we're assigned to this human existence. I firmly believe that sitting here in front of my computer and I guess channeling this message to you is my purpose. It is my calling, is to sort of tease out those opportunities of thoughtfulness, the opportunities for you to, to challenge the listener, to challenge you, to sit down and do that deep dive, to dig in. And, I hope that while you're listening to this, that you are in a space of peace, that you have opportunity and you're able to use your imagination creatively to create and manifest the life that you desire, and that you have the capacity to earn money and to manifest abundance in a way that will provide you with all of the desires of your heart and soul. I pray that for you. I hope nothing, I hope nothing else for you other than good things. I hope that you never have to ask. But I think that it's that element of gratitude. Like I sit here right now and I'm in my home and I have power. I have the ability to record this podcast here in my home office. And I can't possibly imagine a level of financial reward that could possibly increase my level of gratitude than what it is right now. There's an incredible amount of peace that comes with that. And as somebody who has struggled with depression and anxiety and self-doubt and self-worth issues in the past, in the distant past, but still in the past, you know, it begs the question that, you know, I don't ever want to take it for granted. The way I feel right now, I never want to take for granted. I wish nothing but peace of mind. Peace of mind is everything. That's what we're all seeking, I believe, is to feel connected and to feel in harmony with who we are and the world around us, and to develop that sense of peace. But there are those out there who struggle constantly with finding that. And if you're one of those people, if this is you, if I'm talking to you, you don't have to struggle by yourself. It's literally something that some skills, some education, some inspiration, some motivation, some mentoring, active listening, all of those sort of skill sets, if they are brought into your space, can challenge you to think outside of it can cause a paradigm shift for you. And the reason I know this to be fact is because it happened to me personally many, many years ago. And it is often renewed with the type of dialogue that I digest, the things I listen to, the books and the things that I read challenge me often to evolve out of that and to keep me in a space of peace. But you look outside yourself, okay? This is the point that I want to make to you. If this is you, if you're struggling with finding peace and you feel stuck and you feel like you don't have the wherewithal to ask, or you feel shameful, or you feel like you're going to be judged, first of all, I want to validate the fact that you may very well keep a circle of people around you who will judge you, which is probably a legitimate reason for you not feeling compelled to ask to begin with. So to that I say, engage other people. Grow your tribe. Get out there. Listen to different philosophies. Engage with different groups of people. You probably, a big part of your reason that you're struggling is probably because you don't know who you are, and you've never really had the opportunity to explore that. And so as a result, you've created this veneer to sort of push yourself out into the world so that the world sees you a certain type of way, but you don't really know who you are underneath all of that. All you know is that you have to protect that image at all costs. And so if there's a crack in that image, you know, that could possibly be caused by asking for help, then it feels like everything you've ever worked for is lost. That's just an assumption that I'm making right now based upon the things that I've seen and the things that I've experienced too. I just want to validate you, and I want you to understand that every day that you wake up is a gift. Every single day that you wake up is a gift. Every single day that you wake up is an opportunity to do business differently. And I think you should, especially if you're struggling to find peace of mind. Anytime that we're struggling, anytime that we have stress in our life, stressful conditions in our life, it's the direct result of resistance. It's the direct result of pushing against something that is trying to get us to do something different. So when we're attached to an outcome, that's resistance, right? So when you let go of attachments, when you stop trying to get things to work out, things that are outside of your control to work out a certain type of way, then you'll find life gets a lot easier. Even if you do get those people in your circle that start judging you. So there's a lot of little moving parts here, and I get that. And it sucks to think that the things that you've built up your whole life, you might possibly have to shift out of completely in order to find peace of mind. I'm just here to tell you that that's okay. It's okay. And the stepping stone in doing that, especially if you don't know where to go, is to ask. Ask. Ask, who would you normally ask for help from if you felt compelled to ask for help? If it's not your circle, maybe you can call a therapist. Maybe you can contact a quote unquote a disinterested third party, somebody who you have to pay money to give you advice and feedback, right? Which is basically what therapists do. But that's a starting point. It's a starting point. You can get feedback from watching videos, listening to books, teaching yourself, learning and growing your own skill set by exploring other thoughts, other avenues, other mindsets. All I'm telling you is ask, learn, grow. If you're unhappy and you're stressed out and you cannot seem to find peace of mind, just temper this with the concept of suspension of disbelief. And what I mean by that is to suspend the fact that you're the one that should have the answers all the time. That's something that I've had to learn, is that I don't have to have the answers all the time. I can ask. And I do. And just to answer that question, I do ask for help. I ask for feedback, basically because I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. So if you're hurting, you're struggling, you don't know what end is up, it's not because you're broken, it's not because you're unworthy, it's just because you don't know. And when we don't know, we got to ask. All right. From fear to love. This has been an LBM production. Please like, subscribe, and share this show. Thanks for listening.